Hi everybody, welcome back to Sticks and Stones Wood Carving. I got this little piece of cottonwood here. It's pretty much all I got laying around at the moment, and it's got a bad crack right here, but it's pretty thick, so I think we can kind of work with that. I don't think it goes all the way through. And we're going to try and just make a little Santa ornament out of it, and today we'll just use our knife and a couple of hand tools and see what we can come up with here. Okay, so we're going to draw a quick little Santa face on here. I'm really hoping that crack doesn't affect anything. And we'll come down like this to make a quick little nose. Actually, if I wanted to make more of a Santa type nose, it would be higher. But we're gonna go with this for now. And we'll come up like this, give him a little cheek here. And right around where this crack is, hopefully I can dig down the sides of the face and get rid of that. So I'm going to put the other cheek about here. A lot of this wood is it's pretty thick for an ornament, and it's pretty long. It's probably 7-8 inches long. So I'll probably end up hollowing it out, and I'll try to give you guys a couple of tips and tricks on how to do that with a couple of hand tools in this video for a change. Some of you, I know a lot of people like to power carve. But that's okay, because if you have a knife and your Dremel sound, then you can always grab a little stick or a piece of cottonwood like this and still come up with something. And it's always good to have a couple of hand tools laying around and clean up your carvings and get some better detail with. So I'm going to try and just make a simple little face and fit him on this piece. Like I said, he'll be a little too heavy to hang on a tree if I don't really take a lot of wood off, so we'll see as we go, and I'll just keep cutting, and whatever falls off, you know. But for now, I'm just going to get a basic idea of where I want to put the face, and maybe we'll try to use this whole thing and make one big long hat for the whole piece. That'll make them a little different too. Okay, so that right there will work as far as the face goes. I got 2 beaver craft knives. I'm going to use those, a detail knife and a rough out. I could probably do this whole thing with just the rough out. I'm going to put a little fur here around his hat. Like so. And let's see if we can bring this up and kind of swoop it a little bit. We'll try to take all of that stuff on the sides off here, and we'll give him one big chunk of wood up here for a pom-pom. Just like that. You guys can see that. And that's pretty much going to be the gist of the ornament we make here today. And we'll cut all that excess off and start shaping our Santa Claus here. So I'm going to use the rough out knife. And again, these are beavercraft knives. So don't mind me as I start hogging some of this wood off here. I'm just going to try and keep at least the shape of that outline. And I'm going to have to hold it close to my body as much as I can so I don't cut myself for better control. But I'll try and keep most of it in the camera. Because all I'm doing is shaping it, and I'm just, when I get to that line, you know, I'll come in like this and make sure I keep that line. And we'll go around the whole carving and try and get a lot of this wood off. And like I said, this is a pretty thick little chunk for an ornament. So I'm going to be removing a lot of this wood. And if he's out of the camera here and there, don't worry about it. Sorry about that, but it's just a little too hard to hold it away from my body, keep it in the camera, and actually not have it on the table. Here, I'm trying to let you guys see it here. Notice how I hold my thumb against the knife with my left hand, and then I just kind of rock the knife. That'll give you a lot more control. And of course, if you have a knife and you haven't carved for a lot of years, or you don't have much experience with a knife or any hand tools, definitely wear a glove. I'm going to make a stop cut here. Usually with a knife, it's always a stop and then a removal cut. And we'll try to shape that pom-pom here. Just a little bit. It's going to be rough for now because there's a lot of wood we got to get off here. So I'm going to just take a lot of that off. Try to get it fairly round for now. Okay, we got all this side over here. We got to shape the other side. See, he's pretty thick there. And we're going to take this down pretty good. And we're going to try and keep working at it as we go. And try and get that hat to kind of swoop and swerve in opposite directions there. To give it a little bit of movement and make it interesting. We don't just want one big straight pointy hat. So we'll keep working on that as we go. And we'll move all around the carving as we're taking off, and I'm really worried about that crack, but we're just going to have to see what happens here. Now I'll probably take a lot of this down because I don't want it to be a really big ornament. But right there where I'm going to put the hat, see how I'm making a stop cut there? And then I'm going to push up into that stop cut, and the same on this side. So I'm just going to make a little stop cut right about there. Push up, push down, push up. Just kind of V'ing into that cut. And that's going to stop where the hat's going to stop. And then the beard will come out from underneath that. Okay. Now I'll go back up to here and try and shape this a little bit more. Now if I keep this as thick as it is, I wouldn't be able to detail it the way I want to, because I really don't want to just make a round beard on this guy. What I'll do is we'll keep removing wood, and I'll show you guys, we'll get a gouge or two out. And I'll show you how to make him look a little bit more interesting and not just have one rounded beard like we did in the last project or two. Okay? And an easy way to do that is to really flatten him out a lot. So we have a lot of cutting to do here, basically, around here. But I think I'm going to extend the beard down from where I actually made the drawing and use this whole piece. Let's just keep getting some of this off here. I'm using a push cut here with my thumb on the back of the knife. I'm just kind of rocking the piece, or rocking the knife, I mean. I'm not pushing, I'm rocking and slicing. But when you have your other hand controlling, you can go pretty fast with a knife. Actually, I'm trying to go slow so you guys can see it. Because you can whittle pretty fast. People don't realize just how quick you can actually make something with a knife. I'm not speeding anything up here or slowing it down. Just, this is real time. And it doesn't take long. And this piece is kind of, you know, it's a cut off of extra that, you know, something I made out of cottonwood bark. So it's really not the prime piece that was carved. This is a scrap piece, and I'm just going to use it to make the ornament with. And I'm going to have to clear some of this stuff off so you guys can see, huh? And that hat, we're going to have to take that down. Once we round it off in the back and everything, we'll take that down so we can use our chisels and knives, or chisels and gouges, I mean. But right about here is where I want that to stop, so I'm going to mark that with a little V cut. A lot of times when you're using a hand tool like this, if it doesn't cut real good going up, you're going to have to flip it over and then come down and cut the piece that way, because your grain will change in a lot of pieces. I was trying to tell you that in the last video when we were doing basswood. So expect to have to turn it upside down and cut the other way also, if it's not cutting for you. Stop, remove, okay? Pretty basic, and he's starting to shape up pretty quick. Just going to try and roll my knife here. It's kind of like a little bit of a scooping cut. It's a rolling cut, really. I'm just kind of rolling my knife, because I want to kind of hollow that center right there. I want to hollow that down a little bit so I can get that wave in his hat, and then the same up here. And then I'll have to go all around it again and round everything off. Yeah, I can feel it's kind of tough, the grain going that way in the back of the hat. I'm starting to make some chips. Okay, so he's starting to shape up fairly quick. I took the chips off, gave ourselves some nice clean work area again so you guys can see what we're doing. I really don't like how thick he is, so all this stuff here is going to come off, and I think I was going to use this gouge here, but you know what? This is for you, Just Carve Rob. I got an idea here. I got this set of chisels at the flea market, and I haven't used them yet. You see that right there? They say files. Well, somebody thought they said piffle, and they walked up to me and they said, "Hey, did you ever hear of these? These are piffles. Were they some kind of knockoff or something?" I said, "Piffles? I never heard of them." And he said, "Well, if you give me $20 for them, maybe you can use them." I said, "For $20, chisels are chisels. I'll take them home and buff them up a little bit. I'll probably use them." So I picked up a really good set of files, which are Swiss-made tools. These are really nice tools. And anyone that's ever bought a set of files knows that they're not cheap. And I picked them up for $20 at the flea market. So, and I know Just Carve Rob always wanted me to say, "Hey, I'll sell them to you, Rob," because I have another set that's brand new that's big. You know, but just right out of the box, they need to be a little cleaned up. They're a little tarnished and everything, but we're going to hollow the back of this Santa Claus out with them and see how they work. I never used piffles before, so I want to see how they carve. You know what? They don't do too bad. I haven't honed them. They need to be a little polished because they do have some tarnish on them. Who knows how long they sat or where the guy picked them up. I don't know. But definitely a good set of gouges if you need a set of hand tools and you're looking for a quality set. You can always go out and buy yourself a nice set of piffles. Actually, the name is file. How you pronounce it if you've never heard of them. And the same thing, I always use a controlling cut here with my thumb, my other thumb. When I can get it back in the camera here, I'll show you. If you watch, I always have my thumbs pressing together. So that way my left hand I use as a stop. That thumb is only going to allow that tool to go as far as I let it, okay? So I'm always going to have my thumbs touching. And once you do enough hand carving, you'll get the techniques down and get the idea of what I'm talking about. Because you definitely just don't want to be pushing, holding it away from you and just pushing and letting that chisel get away from you, because I've left a nice U-shaped cut on my other hand already. If I was using, say, a gouge like this. Alright, so you see how I'm hollowing this out in the back? That'll make us be able to go really detail that beard hair up nice. And we can cut it down a lot easier with our knife and shape it different, and we won't just have a round beard. You know, so you can also turn these over. Okay, any gouge or chisel. You can shave with it that way, and it'll give whatever shape that tool is. That's the kind of the shape of the cut that you're going to get. Okay. So if it's got a really deep U, it's going to make a U-shaped cut that's deep. You know, if it's got a lazy U, you know, you'll be able to smooth a little better and round things over with it. Just turn your chisel over and use it like that. Okay. Well, this right here, above the hat, I'm going to come across the grain here, which cottonwood has very little of, but there is grain. And we're going to take that down some, because I still have to clean up this little piece of bark that's on here too. And definitely, like I said, wear a glove if you're a beginner. Probably smart to wear a glove anyway. So don't take me as an example here. I can't hold anything with a glove. I would end up injuring myself because the piece slips in my hand, and I just could never carve with a glove. So I'm a bad example. Don't follow what I'm doing. Put a glove on. Safety first. Okay. And I'm just going to keep taking this down because I don't even want big tufts of hair sticking out on this guy either. We're going to make him look a lot different than he does right now. You'll see as I keep shaving. I'm going to take this ornament down pretty far because even though he's going to be 6 or 7 inches long, that's why I'm hollowing out the back here. I want him to be able to be light enough to hang on the tree. Okay? We don't want to stick him up on the tree and have a Charlie Brown tree that bends to the ground, you know, when you put him on because he's too heavy. So if I hollow him out enough, I can make him pretty flat. And this chisel doesn't work too bad there, Rob. Maybe you can find a nice set of piffles at the thrift store or at Goodwill next time you're there. You want to look around for some of these. These work pretty good. These knockoffs. Now I could keep scooping and scooping here and make this thing paper thin, really. Alright, but I'm going to take pretty much of that wood out. And we'll get him light enough that we can hang him anywhere. Even if he is long, we could still hang him on the tree and it isn't going to hurt anything. Okay. And besides, it's cottonwood bark, so it's pretty light anyway. Sometimes when you try to get up there with a bigger chisel, a bigger size gouge like this, it's going to run into the hat and it'll give me some problems, so I'll have to turn it upside down or maybe go to a smaller gouge when I get to the top. We'll see. Okay, that removed a lot of wood pretty quick. He's getting lighter. Let's see what we can do next. Okay, he doesn't look too bad. We got a lot of wood up here yet. We got to round this off with our knife. We got to come down here and take some of this off now. Okay, like I said, we're going to make this pretty flat, and I'm going to want to take a lot of this wood off. I'm trying to stay underneath the mustache here. Okay, when I can get it back in the camera. Like I said, I got to pull it towards me, guys. I'm sorry. Trying to hold it like this is really awkward, but that's all I'm doing. You see that? I should have moved my camera a little. So I'm just kind of scooping this away here and taking a lot of that wood out so it'll be easier to detail that up. Another nice thing about using a gouge like this is it's going to leave those little valleys, alright, as we're taking the wood down, and the more we take down, it's getting all kinds of little different depths, and when we run our other tools through, another gouge or a V-tool, you know, it'll just add to that beard hair and it'll make it look nice. Now up here I'm going to take the sides of the face down, and then we'll redraw our hat line and everything. I'm going to angle the forehead back a little bit. I'm going to take that right up into the hat there. Just trying to come up with something out of this scrap piece so we don't waste it. So, not really going too crazy on a tutorial. Just kind of showing you guys the ornament I'm making today with it. And hopefully you'll pick up some ideas and might want to try some hand tools. We'll go back to power carving in the next video after we paint this guy up. So I'm getting as much wood as I can off and shaping him as I go underneath here. Now if I just use this gouge, a nice way to get a really neat lip started, alright, is to come underneath the mustache with a gouge. And you can really get a couple of really nice expressions, right? And I'll show you that and see if I can pull one off here after I clear more of this wood. Just by leaving one side a little higher than the other, and you'll see the kind of lip he'll start forming when we do that. Okay, let's draw a couple of lines back on this guy so we don't lose any, and see what we want to do here. I'm going to put the hat there. Yeah, that don't look bad. I'll make it a little high here, but that can change, you know. As we cut, we can always straighten that line out. This is just for you guys, really, for reference. So I have his forehead sloped back a little bit. We got the beard taken down underneath the mustache, so that'll stick out. Now it's time to get our V-tool. This is a small V-tool, and what I'm going to do is cut that forehead line in there, or the bottom of his hat, whichever way you want to look at it. And again, I'm using the technique where, notice my thumb, alright, my left thumb and my right thumb touch here, so I only rock my right hand, and my left thumb pretty much keeps that chisel from going any further than I want it to. And I just rock my hand and my piece together. You'll get the feel for that if you practice. And this is a small, awkward piece to hold, so it's very easy to cut yourself if you're not careful. So again, make sure you wear a glove, because one little slip and that little V-tool goes into your hand. That one's not too sharp, by the way. None of these tools are super sharp. Like I said, these Beavercraft knives are not my good knives, not even a flex cut. So I'm just kind of whacking out a quick little ornament while I'm sitting here talking on the camera for you guys, and let you watch the process and see how you do it with a bunch of hand tools. Just pull the top down and tuck it underneath the top of that fur. That's what that's going to be. And then we'll push the forehead up on the bottom and underneath the bottom part of that fur. By the way, I'm still using the rough out knife even. I should have the detail knife here, but while it's in my hand, I just keep going. I mean, we'll end up making something out of it. Take some more of this forehead down here. Still trying to leave it high for the eyebrows. So I'm cutting above those, really. Right, not taking it too far down, and we don't want to get into that yet. And if you have to recut with your V-tool afterwards to clean it up, then that's what you do. You know, all that's sticking out. Now, I should have a smaller gouge. I'm just using what's in front of me. And I would come from the side in and go towards the nose here. And I don't want to go all the way up into the forehead. I'm just trying to hollow out a space with my flea market piffle, and one on the other side, and hollow that out where I can hopefully form some eyes in there. Maybe we'll just leave it flat and not even do eyes like the last one. Okay, yeah, I really should have a smaller gouge for this, but I'm determined to get it anyway. This gouge is way too big. I should be using like a number 5 or something on this small carving. And I'll take my V-tool and I'll give him an eye ridge. And we'll push up and clean that out. Really not trying to take my time. Like I said, I'm just trying to give you guys a quick little video before we get to the next main project. We covered doing a little ornament with a Dremel a couple of videos before this, and we'll probably do another one or two before Christmas, I'm sure, and I'll slow down and explain everything I'm doing. Now this nose, same thing. I should have a small, like a number 5, but the process I would do here, I don't know if this is going to work too good. It's probably just going to break it off. It's a little big. But I would push that end and then push up to it to form the bottom of the nose. And holding it in my hand like this and up in the air instead of on the table or closer to my body. But I'm trying to let you guys see what I'm doing. That's a little rough, so it's probably not going to work too well. Yeah, see that piece broke off. Not going to work too well doing it that way, but we'll just have to work with it. Maybe I can get a smaller Do I have any smaller piffles over here? I'm gonna have to keep using this one. Let's see, maybe I can, I'll just start shaping this with the V-tool a little bit and keep that mustache before I lose it here. Just make sure that I keep those cheeks cut in, because I want the mustache to kind of curl up on the sides. So he looks happy. Can't have a sad Santa. And look at this big chunk from the file broken out there. That's okay. That's alright. We'll just keep plugging away at it and we'll clean it up. Got plenty of wood yet. Still using a rough out knife too. I'll cut up from underneath and get some wood out. So that line gets a little harder for that mustache, and then we'll shape it into something. We'll round it off a little bit. I'm trying to keep the mustache fairly chunky. Like I said, I'm not into any really good bark here. That's why the knife sounds so hard going through it. It's not really slicing well on that mustache, that's for sure. And again, it's a rough out knife, and I should just grab the detail knife. It's right next to me on the other side. Let's cut this face in a little bit more. Yeah, these blades are kind of stiff and hard. Very little flex to them, like a flex cut even. Let's see, can we round this off here? With the knife, or should we take another gouge? Let's look in the box of piffles here. I have a smaller. That right there's got a nice little sweep on it. It's tiny. Let's see how this one cuts. And again, I didn't sharpen these. I didn't hone them. I just took them right out of the pack that was kind of dirty and just probably sitting in the back of a truck at the flea market for I don't know how long. But they're still really sharp. And this one's just the right size for this ornament to make the little nostrils I want to make. I'll flip it over and round the bottom of his nose off and pop 2 quick wings of his nose in here. We'll just set them in a little bit by inverting the gouge, and we'll clean it up. Come over to this side and pop a chip out on that side. And then we'll do the same over here. We're going to have to turn it this way. Let me see, I cannot remove that from where I've already cut first. That should make that stand out. And then we'll clean it up a little bit with some lighter cuts. Again, I'm trying to hold this in the air and do it, where I really should have a lot more control by holding it closer to me. I have my arms extended and it's just kind of like hanging in the air when I'm doing it. I'll take my V-tool, and if it's too uncomfortable using the gouging, I'll clean it up and make sure I keep that mustache going. Maybe start the bottom here. I don't think I've sharpened this V-tool in quite a while. I'm just kind of using what's laying around on my bench. Who knows what I carved it last time I used it. So I'm going to have to sharpen these before the next video if I want to do any hand tools. Let's see, we'll make that, definitely keep your tools sharp too. Alright, now watch this lip here and the expression you can get just by leaving a little bit of wood and then cutting another line with the V-tool here. I didn't go all the way down where I was before, but I have that mound there, so I can get a pretty neat expression and give him a pretty cool lip after I put the mustache in here. And then I'll take a gouge and go underneath it, and you'll see the effect of the expression he'll get with the gouge. Alright, right now he just looks like he's got a big smile going. But right there's plenty of wood. Even this rough out knife, if I start taking some of this off here, get that mustache to go out. or stand out. There's still plenty of wood there because that's sticking out a lot more than everything else because we left that high when we took the wood out with the gouge from underneath the mustache and we went down the whole beard with it. So let me clean this up and we'll work on his lip a little bit. I just got to make sure. It's just tough with this knife. I really don't. I don't really like these knives, to tell you the truth. They're right here. Yeah, I'm getting annoyed watching myself do it. I don't know why I'm not picking the detail knife up. I think my coffee cup's in the way and it's on the other side of it. And I just don't. I'm lazy and don't feel like grabbing it. That's okay. As long as it takes wood off. When it becomes a major problem, then I'll switch to the detail knife. But that's what you'd use for stuff like this. I mean, once we took all this wood off, I really didn't need the rough out knife anymore. It's a lot thicker, definitely not flexible, and it's just a bigger blade. Let's take a little chip out here to get a little shadow. Clean up around the wing of that nose. If I could get it with this big clunky knife. And we'll flip it around and try and do the same over here. Make a little cut there, a little cut there, a V-shaped cut, and then we'll pop that chip out. If I can get it out there. Look how thick that knife is for this little ornament. Just goes to show you, if you got a pocket knife, whatever, you know, you can still make it work. You don't have to go out and buy a fancy set of piffles either. And files. A couple of tools, and you come up with something. I'm trying to shape that. See that lip starting to form there? Just from taking wood off, you know, a little bit underneath that and leaving that little extra mound there. Now you can shape that lip into anything you want. And I'm about to do that with this little gouge. The back's pretty flat. We got plenty of wood here for a lip. Let's see if we take a gouge, the little one here, and we use this to start forming our lip. But we're going to slope it a little. And I'll show you a way to get a little expression on them by just having the lip off center, and then we'll cut it off and just give them a normal lip later. But I'm just trying to show you that just by different ways of doing things, you know, differently. You don't have to do a traditional lip where it's perfect right in the center. You kind of offset it a little bit. I'm sorry I'm out of the camera again. I really can't see, and I'm holding this away from me. But just taking a little bit of wood out and not really being perfect with that lip could give him a whole different look. I don't know how good you can see that in the camera. Let me come over here and just start taking some of this out. Now I'm going to run down the whole beard here because we're really going to take a lot of this out, and I don't even know if I want to keep it this wide. I'm going to cut as much of this off as I can. See those nice gouge marks you leave with the hand tools? I mean, this thing's so small I should be using a wider gouge first, and then I'd use the little gouge. And then I'd go to a V-tool, and I mean, you could just keep stepping it down. But I'm going to break off what breaks off, and I'm going to try and get a lot of this broken down and try and make him look a little bit different than other ornaments that I've made this year. So I'm just going to really take a lot of this beard off and maybe just give him one little stringy thing at the bottom. I don't know. I'm going to keep playing with it and see what we come up with. I got nothing else to do today. It's pouring rain out. Yeah, this is a little bit not wide enough. That's why it's cutting and it's razor sharp, but it's leaving strings on the sides because it's too thin. This is a nice little gouge though. I like it, especially when I work on that lip more. And again, I'm holding it away from my body and in the air, which is really not comfortable. But I'll keep coming. When you hollow a carving out in the back the way we did, and then you come over to the sides like this, you can break a lot of the pieces off and start getting tufts of hair. You can pierce through the carving and all kinds of stuff when it's that thin in the back. You just got to be careful if you push too hard that you don't break something. You don't want to make it that thin. So you want to keep some strength. But we're trying to make him light enough. Come on, Kev, get in the camera. Jeez. There we are. We want to make him light enough so when we hang him up on the tree that there's not going to be any problems. He's not going to be too heavy. So I'm still going to take a lot of this off. I'll probably get the bigger gouge and do it too. We'll see. Or I'll just run my V-tool through a lot of these. And we'll get some quick little hair. Let's see if we can shape this lip a little bit more with the... Again, the rough out knife. I don't know why I'm using the rough out knife, guys, really. Guess I'm just picking everything up on the right hand side, whatever's there. And this mustache isn't forming that great for me, because I really do need the detail knife for this. And I should sharpen my V-tool. And over here on the sides, I like to make little wedge cuts. Just cut a little V like that and take pieces of wood out, and you can give him a whole different look that way too. If he's not, it breaks it up some. He's not just one big round beard, As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a lot of this off and make it really skinny at the bottom. See if I can pull something like that off. We'll keep shaping it and make it a long skinny beard. I'm just going to push away. This is hard to do holding it away from your body though. So I'm just going to V-cut, and make these little wedges around. And we'll try to get some movement in that beard also. And we'll keep shaping that until we come up with something that doesn't look so awkward, and make it a little different. That's another reason I wanted to hollow the back out, because now I can go right around the back of the carving and I'm able to do stuff like this. If that was one big round ornament, that would be really tough. And this knife doesn't cut the way I want it, that's for sure. I mean, even a flex cut rough out knife would take care of this pretty good. This one I'd probably have to use a detail knife for. The blade's just too thick and too stiff. But it is good for roughing out. I mean, it's definitely a strong blade. For me though, like I said, I like at least the thickness and the flex and the sharpness of a flex cut. Or any high quality carving knife. I mean, I've carved whole carvings. Some of my best carvings that I made in the beginning years ago were just with a bench knife. Just one knife for everything. So it's not like it can't be done. So if that's what your toolbox has, that's what you use. Let's work on this a little bit more. Still a little thick. And like I said, I'm not fast forwarding this video or anything, so if you have the patience, you can sit here and watch and see what I come up with. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to come up with yet, really. For all I know, I'll snap the hat in half pushing too hard if I'm not careful. But I'm going to try and thin it out and make it a an ornament that I can use for Christmas and give it to somebody, or it'll either be a gift or sell it. Who knows? Very rarely anything gets stuck in a box and stays here too long, though, because somebody will want it. Or I'll give it away. Or somebody in the family will get it, or if I go to a show, it'll go in the box and get sold. For now, it's just for YouTube purposes. We'll clean this up. One thing about using a carving tool, though, is when you do really want to get to cleaning a piece of wood, when you're using hand tools, it's going to be nice and clean when you're done. When you start doing the finishing cuts and stuff with knives and gouges, I mean, they're pretty much finished when you're done. Very little sanding. That's, of course, if you're using sharp tools, which I am not today. Now I'll take my V-tool and I'll run it through a bunch of those. And again, if something breaks, I'll just let it break off and then work with that. If anything, it'll give him a little more contrast and make them look interesting. Sometimes you break a piece off, you go, oh, I really like the way that looked, and then it doesn't work. But most of the times, you just keep working with it and you'll end up okay. And sometimes you like what breaks off a lot better than what you had in the first place. So I'm going to run some V-cuts down through a lot of this excess here where there should be hair. Have to pull some out here and there. And we'll try and reinforce that lip just a little bit to show you the expression that he's got just from having that lip off center and oversized right now. Keep running our beard hair. Not really putting a lot of movement in this. They're pretty much straight cuts down because I have so much cut off, and we cut those little V's around the corners, so he's gonna look interesting anyway, even if I don't give him too much movement in those lines. Still having trouble cleaning this mustache up though on the bottom. That wood is it. There's a bad spot there in this bark. So we'll see. I can tell already it's going to be hard to detail the mustache. And that's when you can also take your Dremel out and use a nice little fine bit, a diamond bit or something, and just give him his mustache hair and his eyebrows and stuff with that, because I just might break it with this V-tool. We'll have to see. Always going back and reinforcing the design. Clean it up. Okay, now we gotta give him some eyebrows here, so I'm gonna come down from the top and separate right there, and then you'll start seeing some eyebrows form. I'll take that chip out there with this big clunky knife, and back to the hat. Clean that up. Now, if I want to form the eyebrows, I could just go to the top of that cut and come over like that. We have one. Alright. Come from the other side. Flip it over. And we'll cut down here. And that will pretty much take care of eyebrows for them. Come underneath to reinforce them a little bit and set them in. Same on this side. We're starting to have a little face there. Let's see if we can reinforce that nose and the cheek with this V-tool. I don't know, is that working? Yeah, and I have extra wood here. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll take the side of my V-tool and I'll just use that as a chisel, and I'll just kind of shave with it. If you lay a V-tool on its side and just use the one edge, you can use it as a chisel and shave. Can we get lines in here without messing it all up? I don't like this mustache wood, that's for sure. I should have taken that down more and got down a better bark, because that's still some surface there. So that's breaking it up a little bit. I might have to play with that. Yeah, I'll be cleaning that up for sure. I definitely don't like that. We'll fix it somehow. Probably have to get the knife out again and make sure that that's okay. You don't want to lose that hard line on the bottom of your mustache. You want that shadow, definitely. So, like I said, that's a little piece of bad bark up there. So, might have to cut the lines I just put in there off. We'll see as we go. As long as we got wood, we'll turn it into something. Maybe we can get it with the V tool here. Got to make sure we can see that mustache when we're all done. And sometimes when you're working with scrap, you know, that's why it was scrap. It was really one of the pieces that just got cut off of a bigger carving. Sometimes it works, other times it don't. Now, let's see if we take a little triangle shaped piece of wood out here. Now we have his lip kind of going to the side, you see that? And he's got kind of a smirk to him that's a little bit extended. Let's make sure we know where that mustache goes. I'll tuck this under like that. And I really want to get that mustache to stand out, so I'm trying to get some more wood out of there without breaking anything. Boy, it's really raining outside. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Yeah, we'll get that to stand out. Oh, by the way, we got Ben over there at Studio on the Lake. He offered to donate a carving. He's probably going to make an ornament. And make sure you check out his channel. And he's going to donate a nice little Santa ornament or something. I don't know yet. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. To our challenge. So thank you there, Ben. Kudos to Ben. Ben does some great work over there. You want to definitely check his channel out. And if you're watching this, Ben, you definitely are going to be entered into the contest for donating, and you'll get to win the big cottonwood piece. You'll be entered into that drawing just for donating. So thanks a lot. The more prizes, the merrier. Don't forget that goes off, that drawing, on the 22nd. And if you haven't submitted your ornament or your Santa carving, whatever you're going to submit, definitely get it in by the 21st, because now we have one more prize that we can have a drawing for, and that'll be for Ben's carving. And it should be a good time. A couple days before Christmas, 8 o'clock, live on Sticks and Stones channel here, Sticks and Stones Wood Carving, and we're going to have a giveaway with lots of fun prizes. Like I said, we'll have 2 of Jordy Johnson's prizes, or carvings. Well, one's going to be a carving, one's going to be a Dremel. I'm going to give away a Dremel 4000 and another carving. We have a carving book. Ben's giving away a carving. Just Carve Rob is giving away a carving. So there's going to be lots of fun stuff going on the 22nd. And if you want to be entered into that drawing, send any submissions that you have to sticksandstonescarvings@gmail.com. Make sure you give me your full name so I know if I pull it out of the hat who you are, your address, where to ship your prize, and date your piece so we know that you made it this year. Okay. And now he's starting to shape up a little bit. We have a nice long hat. Probably going to have to get that to come down a little bit more. I still want a little more movement to him. So I'm going to keep trying to get that to suck in on the one side, because I don't want it going straight up. I want it to have kind of a lazy-ass shape to it. As long as I have wood. And he'll have a nice, long, thin, tall hat. Just got to make sure I leave enough wood so I don't knock off that pom-pom at the top, okay? So that's what he's going to look like. Now he's starting to shape up. The beard is different. Let's try and take a little bit more of this down. I'll keep cleaning this up. I do have the detail knife in my hand now, so I should be able to take this down a little bit with a little bit more finesse anyway. And we'll take some of these wedges out more. And then I'll round those off, you know, from the back and from the front, and we'll get it to be smooth enough to paint and nice enough. Yeah. Now that kind of shaped beard won't be too bad. And that right there is about what we're going to come up with. I cleaned him up a little bit. We have a beard that's got a little bit of movement. It's not just round and boring like the last one or two. He's got a nice long hat. Pom-pom on the top. We're going to have to put some... Whoops. He's nice and thin and flat in the back. We're going to have to put some detail in the pom-pom. We'll round that off more and get some detail with our V-tool. And we're going to put fur on his hat and give him a couple of character lines. In the next video, we'll paint him up and we'll do all that. This video has been going on and I've been rambling. So, again, thank you, Ben, for donating a carving to the challenge. If you guys haven't got your carvings in, definitely get them in. Submit them to sticksandstonescarvings@gmail.com. And join me in the next video and we'll finish this guy up and we'll paint him up. Okay. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye now.